It's no secret that I use Apple products. I wouldn't call myself an Apple fanboy by any means. I'm not in Tim Cook's Twitter replies with an emoji profile picture quite yet, but I've been following Apple for a while now. I have my opinions and I've never really talked about them before. But the timing's finally lined up. For the first time in a long time, there is a brand new kind of Apple product, and call me crazy, but it's not great?
You're crazy.
I take
You're
it back,
crazy.
please
You're
stop.
crazy. You're crazy.
Let's go back to the beginning. In 2023, rumors were flying left and right over WWDC, Apple's yearly worldwide developers conference. WWDC is a software event first, with the new stuff for this year's iOS, iPadOS, and macOS presented on stage. Getting hardware at these events is a pretty mixed bag. Some years you get a refresh of nearly every Mac, some years you get nothing, and other years
we don't talk about.
But rumor had it, this year was going to be different. Apple was finally taking the leap into mixed reality. For years, an Apple VR headset had been in the same realm as the Apple Car. We knew it was coming eventually, but had nothing to prove it was anywhere close to being ready. But the headset had reportedly been demoed to Apple shareholders in the months leading up to the event. It was rumored to be both a virtual reality and augmented reality headset, hence the term mixed reality, or XR for stupid. This also contributed to the rumored name of both the operating system, Reality OS, or maybe XR OS, and the headset itself, Reality Pro. You nearly got it, guys. I joke, but these leaks knew a lot about this thing. It would have a dozen cameras, the battery would be external, it would use a pair of M2 chips, the displays would be 4K, it would be controlled exclusively with hand gestures, and the price would be high. It was also rumored that Apple would be banking on this new line of products to outlive the iPhone.
Needless to say, people were pretty excited for this event. As fun as seeing the new operating systems every year was, this was looking like the first time in a while that Apple was going to present something truly brand new. The pieces were coming together.
Every modern Apple event is announced with a stylized Apple logo and a promo email that's a hint as to what they're announcing. And this one kind of looked like light on an optical lens, and the caption was Code New Worlds?
It's real!
Personally, I was looking forward to seeing how Apple was going to solve the main issue I have with virtual reality headsets. As fun as being fully immersed in a virtual environment or adding things to your existing space can be, this thing is kinda heavy. Pretty much every mainstream headset on the market at that point had one shared flaw. It was basically a brick strapped to your face. All the tech involved in making virtual reality good adds up to a pretty heavy device. Nearly every headset was made using plastic to avoid adding extra weight. So my reaction to an external battery being possible was that they knew about this issue and were going to make the headset as light on the head as they could.
When June 5th finally rolled around,
millions of people were on the edge of their seats for over an hour of the standard presentations and announcements until...
But we do have one more thing.
I got a little excited about that. The last time that they had dropped an infamous one more thing on us was when they launched the iPhone X. This was clearly a big deal. Sure enough, Tim Cook reiterated his passion for augmented reality and gave us our first look at Apple Vision Pro set to very copyrighted music. Let me just get rid of that for you.
oh my god, it's clear that's a screen.
Many pointed out that this initial shot of someone putting on the Vision Pro mirrored the opening of the movie Ready Player One, which was based on a book in a dystopian future where a VR game provided an escape from the world that was crumbling around humanity.
Okay.
Once the initial reveal wore off, Tim sent us to his pocket dimension to learn what this thing actually was, and it still wasn't entirely clear. The headset adopts the digital crown and button combo from AirPods Max, which itself adopted it from the Apple Watch, but it actually borrowed a lot of design elements from AirPods Max. The device has the two-tone aluminum and silicone thing going on, of course with the addition of the external glass. That sounded kind of heavy, but we had already moved on to how apps work. The whole system is built on a heavily modified version of iPadOS.
Cool?
To me, that just meant that these apps weren't going to be quite as powerful as their Mac counterparts, but that clearly wasn't the point. This thing comes with the usual suspects: music, notes, calendar, mail.
Honestly, I had to stop watching there to call my friend to tell him to buy one of these things as fast as I could. He may be deathly afraid of dinosaurs, but he loves Apple apps. Oh, must be him now. Hello? Oh god.
Yeah, Experience Dinosaurs is one of the apps that the Vision Pro ships with. It seems like this is here to get the user to understand the possibilities of the headset that they bought already. It's a neat little addition, but it's very strange to see this come out of Apple as an included app at launch. At this point, they had driven home that everything was in a 3D space, hence the new term, spatial computing. Now, it was becoming pretty clear. This was a computer. It could work together with a Mac. It could kind of run 3D software. It had 2 computer-grade chips, and it transformed existing apps into something new. like FaceTime.
Wait a minute, like FaceTime? If you're wearing the thing on your face, how does it?
This is cool, but it's also really creepy. These are what Apple calls personas, and they serve a couple of purposes here. If you're crazy enough to take a video call in a virtual reality
Spatial computing! Spatial computing!
headset like this, it will use both the internal and external cameras to map your facial and hand movements to a 3D avatar version of yourself to show on the other end of the call. It builds this avatar using a scan of your face from the outside of the device. It also uses this to put your eyes on the outside of the Vision Pro. This is supposedly to remove the isolation of the whole thing, but in my opinion, it kinda doesn't.
The rest of the event went over how you could watch 3D movies, and Disney was there, and the tech specs, and the price.
Apple Vision Pro starts at $34.99.
But let's fast forward to today. The Vision Pro feels weird. I still don't know who this is for.
It seems like every advertisement that they're putting out for this recently has a regular person just kind of sitting down with it. And I get it, being able to watch a movie on a huge display in the intended aspect ratio and color accuracy with spatial audio is pretty dang neat. I'm no marketing expert, that much is clear, but this is still so confusing. Who needs to have this?
I don't know. And maybe that's an issue with me. The people who pre-ordered who haven't been finding secret thick lightning cables have been raving about it. Apple stated multiple times that this product isn't done justice through 2D video. Apparently it's something you have to experience on your own. They really want people to understand this thing. Which is why when the Vision Pro launched, Apple started offering 30-minute demos at Apple stores nationwide. And that's perfect. I currently don't see a reason to buy this thing, but maybe a demo will change that. After all, who am I to talk about it without experiencing it firsthand? That settles it. I've scheduled my Vision Pro demo. I got one of the first spots and it's only 100 miles away. What?
That's not a joke. This was it. All of the rumors, announcements, history leading up to this launch, I had been following it. And it was finally my turn to see if this thing really was the device of the future. I'd been joking around before, but I was actually nervous. After they scanned my prescription out of my glasses with a custom machine and a Face ID sizing setup using an iPhone, several Apple employees put together my Vision Pro behind the scenes and brought it out for the demo. After a brief introduction to the gestures, I was ready to enter the magical world of spatial computing. What the So, my first experience was a bit strange. I was not expecting the field of view to be this narrow. I was also turning my head quite a bit, so when the headset chose a location to put the setup instructions in the real depth of the room, it got a bit confused and put it in the background on top of some things in the foreground. It's hard to describe, but my brain was having a hard time figuring out what to do here. It was like an optical illusion on steroids. This happened a couple of times throughout the experience where the depth sensors couldn't quite get enough information and screwed up how things interacted with the real world. However, the tracking was incredible. It was the most similar thing to the advertisements in my opinion. If you put a window down somewhere, it would stay there. In fact, right after launch, a day one Vision Pro user demonstrated just how far you could push this feature. I mentioned that video in the store and the employees had seen it too. Speaking of, the Apple Store employees were great. They let me do this stupid thing and I can't thank them enough. I can't show or name any of them, but it was great and they were actual humans who seemed genuinely excited and interested in how this thing worked. But back to the impressions. Despite the field of view, the display quality was incredible. There was no screen door effect where you can see the gaps through the pixels. That is a very common thing across VR headsets, but these are super expensive displays that are so packed with pixels that you can't see the gaps. The demo continued with some calibration and introducing me to the Photos app. The addition of spatial photos and videos is pretty neat, although spatial videos shot on iPhone have noticeably less depth than the ones shot on Vision Pro. They try to get around this with a blooming effect surrounding the videos, but this experience is a bit over-exaggerated in the marketing. That's not to say there isn't a winner here though. Panoramas are good now? Apple's gotten so good at using their neural engine that we've gone from things like this to this. This was another thing I'm surprised was just like the videos online. It helped that they used the exact same picture, but honestly, this was more immersive than the spatial stuff. They pull a trick where they hide a bit of the edges unless you lean in and look beyond the border, making it feel all the more real. After photos, I messed around with window management and environments. Basically, you turn the crown, you fall down the stairs. This is still really nice. Being able to have an infinite canvas is something you don't really realize is freeing. You can get a pretty big monitor these days, but this is something else entirely. Not to mention, your eyes think they're looking at something far away. This is, I think, a lot better for your eyes than sitting 24 inches from a display. They can shift between things that they think are in different places and the lenses will assist. It's actually crazy that this works. I know that's the thing with most VR headsets, but this is the first time that it's really clicked for me. I mean, sure, the field of view, the blurry edges, the light seal not being perfect, and the weight meant that I was always kind of aware that I was wearing a headset. But as I flew through the rest of the demo, browsing the web, using a standard app, watching a giant 3D movie trailer, and seeing a shark get rotated in immersive 8K 60 frames per second, second. Get rotated. All of the trade-offs nearly felt worth it. But as I exited the demo, I still couldn't justify buying one then and there. They were in stock, I could have walked out with one, but at this price, it's not quite there.
And that's the point. It's not supposed to be there. It's not supposed to work with the average person's life right now. I mean, if Apple can make a profit off of this thing, that's great, but that's clearly not their goal right now. I mean, this is the first generation of this product. Oh my God!
The Vision Pro first generation was built to show the world what this technology can do. There's no killer app yet, there's not a lot of use cases that don't make you look like a dork, but it gets in your head. For the past week, I've been thinking about where I could be putting Windows in real life. I used the damn thing for less than 30 minutes and I was daydreaming about putting my notes next to the slideshow in the lecture hall so I wouldn't have to keep craning my neck down to write on my laptop. I'd never thought about that before, but now I can't really stop.
I have a problem.
So here's what I think comes next. The diehard fans and developers will rave about the Vision Pro first generation for a bit as it slowly builds up more and more third-party apps. Eventually YouTube officially shows up, that sort of thing. Then the Apple Vision launches. It doesn't have the crazy external display for eyesight, it's made of less material, and it's a tiny bit under-spec'd compared to the Vision Pro. Apple focuses hard on making sure it still leagues above the other displays in the headset world. It's also a bit lighter thanks to the changes. It might be plastic, but I give that a 20% shot. Apple likes their aluminum. $1,999. This gets joked about as much as the first price did, but a few more people give it a shot. It becomes something in the realm of an iPhone or iPad. Some prolong getting an upgrade for one of those in favor of trying out the Vision. Then it's a generations game. Vision Pro and Vision tee each other up for a bit. The Vision Pro earns its name by allowing things like multiple Mac displays or fully customizable 3D backgrounds for when personas stop looking like they want to eat human souls. After the third or fourth generation, it's all very streamlined. Most of the issues I've talked about are gone. Even the battery life is drastically improved. It's not uncommon to see someone wearing one in day-to-day life. And then the bombshell drops.
If this all sounds a bit dystopian to you, yeah, there's one issue that they're not going to be able to fix. They're going to try a few times, and I'd love to be proven wrong, but things are going to get a bit more isolated. Widespread adoption of something like this means that truly isolated experiences will begin to outweigh general ones you can do with others. I can see this being a lot better than what we have today, but also a lot worse. There's no telling what the future holds, but this gives us a glimpse. And no matter where you stand on this thing, we've got to work together to figure it out. But as for the present, the first generation of Apple Vision Pro is not for most people, myself included. In fact, I'm starting a club, something for all the not Apple fanboys out there, something that proves that we don't need to buy the brand new thing unless it makes sense, something to make our voices heard.
Yeah.